as we allow technology to do some of the cognitive things that we used to do, we might get worse at those things. So my personal example is, well, I mean, you might just think of your phone. My phone is full of phone numbers. When I was a child, I knew multiple phone numbers by heart. My home phone number, of course, which I still know by heart, but also all my friends, and because I had to dial them daily, possibly, to talk to my friends. But now I know like 2 phone numbers, and that's it. One of them's mine. So like how so much of and I found in other areas too that my memory has definitely gotten worse because I have technology that can act as memory for me. So how might ChatGPT and these language models or AI in the classroom also affect skills?
It's interesting because this exact question comes up in computer science. So in computer science, there's different ways to interact with a computer, and we call it computer programming when we write code. And there's different types of programming languages. There's the ones that people use nowadays, which is called Python. Everyone loves it. It's great. Then there are languages that are much closer to the way the machine works. We call it machine code, and the level above that is called assembly language. And basically the short answer is almost no one can understand it. It's extremely low level, but you could write the most efficient code if you work that way. I never have to worry about that. And I haven't had to worry about it since I was an undergrad and I took a course in it. But the reason I took a course in it is because at my university, they thought it was important for me to know how machine code worked so that I could think about it when I do other aspects of being a computer scientist. And so I think we get to choose how we build our education in the future. And we can make decisions like that. Like your example is cell phone, my example is basic arithmetic. Calculators and my phone, I'm really bad at basic arithmetic. That's definitely my fault. But I think as educators, we need to think about, okay, it is important to teach machine code. It isn't important to do this other thing. And we have to constantly think about this question about what are the relevant things that we think we should still be good at, because we do hope that eventually that some things become basically well understood enough that we don't worry about them anymore unless you're an expert in that low level thing, so that we can learn about the world at a much higher level.
I think it's also really important to recognize that these cognitive extensions, whether that's a pen and paper or a math manipulative or a calculator, actually changes the way that we think, the process of thinking. The way that you think with a pen in your hand, able to write something down, is very different than the way that you think when you don't. And so I think there needs to be a deeper conversation too about what AI as a collaborative partner, or how it changes the way that we think, how it changes the way that students think. Yeah, I'm all for the outsourcing of some of our cognitive tasks to free up space for other things. Yeah. But I don't think that AI should be considered on the same level as a calculator. When I've seen many people make that argument, that this is the same as ChatGPT is the same as when calculators were introduced. Yeah. Not really, because calculators are like pretty understandable to the human mind of how they're operating, and we can by ourselves do that on a piece of paper if we wanted to. Yeah. But with AI, that isn't the case for most folks.
Yeah. The writing example is beautiful because I think about algorithms and experiments I want to run, and I sit there and think for a while, like, yeah, that's really clear. That's a good idea. And then I pull up my research journal and I start writing about it. And then I realize, oh, that's not clear at all. And there's a bunch of steps missing. And I actually don't have a clear idea here. And like, you're right, this role of thinking through writing is like, I think, a really fundamental thing. And I think it would be bad if it was gone.
Right, but maybe thinking as writing can become thinking as a conversation with an AI agent. And it doesn't have to, like, the process of writing is not the key. The process, the important thing is that iterative nature, that sort of like back and forth and thinking through step by step. And we learn to do it with pen and paper, and I think students will learn to do it in a different way.
Well, and we're seeing that even before this AI literacy, but with digital literacy in education. There are so many advocates that advocate for, getting rid of the paper and pencil for certain kiddos that doesn't serve them. Like as a teacher, I saw that often. Yeah. Kids can't get their thoughts down on paper sometimes. And so if it's a conversation that they need to have with me in order to achieve assessment or what have you, that's reasonable. Or if they need to make a podcast or a YouTube video in order to get their understanding across, I think that's a totally valid rhetorical form that students can present. And I think AI just offers more opportunities for kids to be able to express themselves through different rhetorical means.